Sticking with crypto, Ethereum has completed the merge, moving the world's second largest blockchain network from a proof of work to a proof of stake. But how has this marriage fared for the Ethereum user base thus far? Let's bring in Galois Capital co-founder Kevin Zhou and Yahoo Finance's David Hollerith. Great to see you here today. Kevin, I want to ask you about the merge, and did it go basically according to plan to you, according to you? And I got to tell you, we're all still here, and we didn't see any major disruptions in price. So has it been successful so far?
Yeah, I think, overall, depending on what perspective you're looking at, if you're looking at it from the perspective of technically did things go smoothly, that would be the case. Pretty much the merge was a non-event, which is a good thing. No catastrophic bugs, not even that many minor bugs. Overall, a lot of validation from the validators. I think, for most blocks and slots, over 95%, 98%. I think only one block in the first few epochs, which is a series of blocks, was missed. So, very, I think, standard, very smooth overall success. I think from a market's perspective, from a price perspective, on the other hand, not quite a success. And, very soon after the merge, price started dropping off pretty heavily. So this was definitely much more of a sell the news event than otherwise. So, depending on who you ask, I think developers and traders might tell you a different answer there.
And Kevin, since the merge has happened too, we've had this situation where crypto mining has been eliminated, and Ethereum miners have forked the Ethereum protocol to sort of run a proof of work post-merge or pre-merge version of the blockchain. And I was just curious, from an investor standpoint, there's been a new coin created, and can you just tell us more about this? I mean, it's kind of confusing.
Yeah, so I think the idea is that once Ethereum is switching off of proof of work, all of these miners are now out of a job, and they really didn't want to go quietly into the night. So they decided that they were going to make their own fork where they would continue to use proof of work to mine their own chain. Now, I think in terms of the ratio of the two coins, the new proof of stake coin versus the old proof of work, with some modifications, the ratio is something like 1% to 100%. The proof of work coin being smaller, and it fluctuates quite a bit. So I think overall, most of the value has migrated over to the upgraded proof of stake chain, but the miners are still fighting for some market share there with proof of work.
And Kevin, how do you make sense of sort of what this new coin is in terms of for investors? I mean, it is slightly confusing. I mean, it seems like it might not have any actual economic value to it, yet it's trading at $11 after having sold off a lot since it's been issued. So, how are you thinking about something like this?
Yeah, for us, we're really just thinking about it from a trading perspective. So, there's sort of short term and long term. Long term, I think, is very speculative. I think it just comes down to what people want at the end of the day, whether they want a chain where they have all the apps, all the developers, or a chain where, you have this proof of work mining, maybe there's some value there for some types of folks. I think in the short term, that's I think much different. I think for that, it's more about structurally, what are the imbalances in supply and demand? A lot of what's going on in the proof of work chain is that you have all of these duplicated assets, some of which have no value, some of which might have some value, and people are shuffling those around in the first few blocks, mostly dumping them for Ethereum proof of work, and then dumping Ethereum proof of work on exchanges. So there's a lot of supply to chew through in the beginning, which is why we're seeing the price go down. And then, at some point, maybe it finds a bottom. Maybe some people buy it up. Maybe it just keeps trailing off to zero. Really hard to say. But, I think just overall, really interesting to watch. And I think it'll probably resolve over the next 2 weeks or so. And then I think from there, we'll see what kind of new developments happen from there.
Well, I appreciate all the talk about the shorter term gyrations here. I want to take a bigger picture view. What's your assessment of the state of crypto right now? We're still kind of mired in this crypto winter where we have the new Ethereum, or I guess Ethereum, just hovering around $1,500, Bitcoin around 20,000. We've seen these numbers for some time trying to get off the ground, but we've also seen the continued institutionalization. That was a theme last year when we were at record highs by Wall Street. Now, where are we?
Yeah, I think this whole idea about, these institutions coming, a lot of that just happens in the cycles, right? As the price goes up, it becomes more meaningful for these larger and larger institutions to put capital to work. Obviously, some of these, the largest of these institutions, like, sovereign wealth funds, these giant endowments, for them, in crypto's early days, the market cap was just too small. Even if they thought it was a good investment, it still didn't make sense for them, because even if they doubled their money on maybe like 50 mil, 100 mil, it doesn't really move the needle for them if they're running like 10 bill, 100 bill. So I think overall, a lot of this kind of institutional adoption, what we're seeing, over the past, I think, 11 years is that, these smaller institutions first adopt it, which then kind of makes the market cap big enough for these medium-sized institutions to adopt it, which then makes the market cap big enough for the largest institutions to adopt. So I think, we're starting to see that play out. But, obviously this is very slow, and it takes many years for that to happen.
Yes, it does. And we're just sitting here patiently hodling, aren't we? Thank you very much for stopping by here. Galois Capital founder Kevin Zhou and Yahoo Finance's David Hollerith.